JSA issue 6, Jeff Lemire and Diego Orlotegui on the art. Oh, I hope the second arc's better, Matt.
Brother, I was so ready. Again, this arc's called Ragnarok, and Ragnarok's a cycle, so hopefully we're seeing the end of a cycle and the start of a new one. There's still so many characters. Earlier in the show, I talked about how when a book that I'm really enjoying is well written enough that I can pick up and remember what happened. JSA is the opposite of that, where there's so much that has happened, I forgot where we were in the story. Yeah. Like, I came in and I was very discombobulated.
Not to mention the fact that when Obsidian shows up, I was like, okay, this is still not really Obsidian, right? Because the real Obsidian's with Thunderbolt, yes, and they're in what might be a simulated world or something somewhere, right? Yeah. But I had to, I doubted myself though. I'm like, no, did they break out of that? Like, I really was struggling to remember.
I forgot about that till you just mentioned it. And there's pieces that in the story that make sense why Jade and Obsidian seem to be at opposing ends of what to do next.
Because it's not Obsidian.
That makes much more sense.
It's Sorrow or whoever,
Johnny Sorrow.
So, yeah, honestly, I don't know what to say about half this. They try and do a thing at the start where there's a quick one-page flashback of Wildcat trying to teach Khalid how to fight, and Khalid's like, why do I need to know how to fight? I've got a magic helmet. And Wildcat's like, yeah, but one day you might have to like stick up for yourself without the helmet. Like, this is important. And he just kind of lets him away with not doing it. But then, like, in the present day, it's Wildcat who gives Khalid a pep talk and says, you can do this, kid. You're special. You've got this in you, blah, 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 blah. Right? And I was just like, you know what? Like, it would have been nice to, like, build some of this relationship up earlier in the arc so that when Wildcat and he dies later in the issue, that would have maybe like hit a bit harder with Khalid breaking down over it if like there was any sign of that relationship before this issue, where I'm like I'm sure they exchanged some words, but like I can't remember like any meaningful exchanges between them before this issue.
Me neither.
It's just messy. It's just messy and poor. There's so much action.
The best way to describe it.
Yeah. Because you've got all the younger characters who are fighting various Cobra members, and Wildcat, because they find some of like Dr. Midnight's stuff in like a cell, and there's blood everywhere, she gets angry and seemingly just like slits a guy's throat, like a Cobra guy's throat just gets like completely obliterated, and they're like, wait, Yolanda, what have you done? So they're like, hey, we're going to have to deal with this. You just killed a guy, like in cold blood. But then we just kind of...
When you said that sounds like an Anchorman where they go, Brick killed a guy. Wildcat killed a guy.
Like, I think that movie's overrated, so I do not wish to be compared to it. Thank you very much.
I'm just telling you, your delivery was very, very Will Ferrell-esque.
Khalid's kind of holding up the barriers and whatnot, but then when the Injustice Society show up and tackle everyone and like, you know, start killing Wildcat, Khalid's barriers break down. So the tower gets destroyed from the outside, and Wildcat gets stabbed through the back from Copperhead? It's not though. That's who I thought it was.
That's Lady Cobra.
Lady Cobra. Yeah, there you go. Like, keeping track of all these C-list villains in JSA can be quite hard sometimes, okay?
For sure. But also, Wildcat mentions to the fog guy that looks like the evil version of Sandman. He goes, I thought Dodds killed you back in the day. So there's definitely some timey-wimey going on here, how all these villains are together.
Which, by the way, there's an editor's note for that saying it was in that Sandman mini that came out a year or two ago. So that's actually a reference to something that was written recently. But yeah, so the young characters are all arguing back at the base about what young Wildcat did specifically. And then the old heroes come in holding Wildcat's dead body. Like, Alan's holding him in his arms, and he's like, Wildcat is dead. And next time we're getting a funeral. Like, I can only hope it's slowing down next issue, because this first arc has been just like kind of a chore to get through, because it's just such a mess with so much going on. It's been poorly defined and explained that I haven't cared about anything. And now Wildcat's apparently dead, and I feel like I should care about that, and I don't.
He had 9 lives. He used up all of them.
What's that from? That was an accent. You were quoting.
That's Randy Quaid in Christmas Vacation when the cat chews through the
Okay.
Christmas lights.
Okay. Very good. Very
it's
good.
Lab. Yeah, as someone that likes Wildcat, I feel like this death's not befitting. You know what I mean? He gets stabbed through the back. Wildcat needs to die on his feet. So
yeah.
There's also this weird thing with Our Man and Jesse Quick arguing and how she feels empty. So like that hasn't really been addressed. We just know that Jesse feels off.
I was assuming that was something to do with Sorrow being nearby or something. Like, I don't know, like something that they're doing, but I don't.
But being the preeminent Jesse Quick fan, I remember her. She's not acting like herself, and I don't think it's because Sorrow. I feel like there is something going on here that it's probably Sorrow. Probably involves Johnny Sorrow, but I don't think it's necessarily that. I think there's more to come from this, but it was just oddly placed in here. Like, yeah, man, this book's a mess. Especially not in a fun way.
Especially when you consider the fact that like Alan, Jay, Wildcat, and Khalid were just kind of in the Tower of Fate for the entire arc. Like they were just in that one location the entire time. Nothing interesting was going on, and yet it felt like we spent a lot of pages on them just kind of like fighting and debating the fact that they were fighting with the forces outside.
Well, and Surtur destroys the tower as well of Fate.
Yeah.
It comes down around him, and then Wotan steals the helm, which that can't be good.
Yeah, they've got the helmet. Yeah, they've got the helmet of Fate. So. But it's amazing how little I care about any of this, though. Is the sad part. Like I don't give a shit. It's a real shame, and I am going to read the next issue because I'm just hoping that now that this first arc's out the way, that this was all the setup for the good stuff that Lemire's going to do. But goddamn, like if this wasn't Lemire, I would have dropped it by now. Like it's getting some extra time to grab me because it's Jeff Lemire, and I'm like assuming that it can be better, but yeah, this is a shame. This is definitely disappointing for sure. I mean, I know it started last year, but when we get to the end of the year and we're talking about disappointments of the year, this is going to be well in the conversation
for sure. And I just feel like with some slight alterations, it might be better. So I don't know what the end game is here. I feel like I trust Lemire to have a plan, and there's a reason that these shotgunning so much stuff out for right now. But you said I hope it slows down, and over the next arc or two, we start getting some more fulfilling resolution to a lot of this.
Yeah. I can only hope it gets better. Art is okay. I remember last time Connor was on, he said that sometimes you get a bit of a John Romita Jr. vibe to some of the faces, and that is still definitely there. It's kind of just fine, and no more to my taste. Yeah. I'm just deflated about it. I just don't think it's very good, and it's a real shame because like Lemire seemed like a good pick for JSA, and we'd been wanting a JSA book for so long. We kind of had one with Johns, which was okay for a bit, but was oddly paced and kind of got delayed a lot. And it was like, okay, but this is going to be the real JSA run that we can get excited about, and it's just been very, very like decent at best, like, mostly mediocre.
Yeah, after the Jay Garrick book, I was really riding high for Jeremy Adams, but if Adams takes JSA, we don't get Green Lantern, and I'm thoroughly enjoying Green Lantern more than most things right now. So, as much as I would love to see another creative team on this, let's let it play out with Lemire. It's just, we'll just keep talking about how sad and disappointed we are.
Yeah. Matt, what are you giving JSA?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to give it a 6.
I'm not even going that high. I think I will give it a 5. I think it is a very mediocre book right now, and it's a shame. Just a bummer.